the relative frequency distribution, percent frequency distribution. After we're learning frequency distribution, many of you will ask, why should we still need to learn the relative percent frequency distribution? The reason we learn the extra two frequency distribution is because when you do the comparison between or among different samples with a different sample size, the relative frequency distribution and percent frequency distribution would be more useful. Think about you want to understand the frequency for the student GPA between two classes. In one class have 20 students, another class have 50 students. So the best way to do the comparison is to construct the relative frequency distribution to compare the relative frequency instead of to look at the frequency. So what's the definition for frequency distribution? The relative frequency distribution. The relative frequency of the class is the fraction or portion of the total number of the data items belonging to the class. Relative frequency distribution can be calculated by using frequency of the class divided by the sample size n. So this is the formula you should remember. So the relative frequency distribution is a tabular summary of the set of the data showing the relative frequency for each class. So how about percent frequency distribution? So the percent frequency of the class is the relative frequency multiplied by 100. So obviously, percent frequency is based on the relative frequency distribution. So some people will say, we don't like the decimals. So another option is try to convert it to percentage. So a percent frequency distribution is a tabular summary of the set of the data showing the percent frequency for each class. So again, no matter frequency distribution, relative frequency distribution, percent frequency distribution, all of them can be used to describe the categorical data. The advantage of this kind of expression is we can very easy to understand the general information about the data set, which category have the highest frequency, which will help the business manager or this business decision maker to make a good business decision. So in our next lecture, we will learn how to use Excel to create the relative frequency distribution, percent frequency distribution. The example we'll use will be the hotel rating.